What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 23 My Team career mode. Last time out, we were at the Australian Grand Prix, and the weekend didn't go so well actually. We only qualified 12th, and we couldn't make any progress through the field. We ended up finishing 11th, and yeah, it was just a disappointing weekend overall for us. I'm hoping that maybe we'll be able to bounce back here in China, but to be honest with you, I'm not particularly optimistic. Last season, we had the Chinese Grand Prix and we got pole position, but we just had absolutely no pace. So we fell all the way from pole position to 14th at the end of the race. Thanks. And I'm hoping that this race might not be quite as disappointing as that one. But based on the fact that we didn't even get through to Q3 for the first time in however long, I don't even know how long it's been. That's how many Q3 appearances I had in a row. But that streak finally came to an end in Australia, and yeah, based on the performance that we've been showing recently, I don't think that we're going to rebuild the streak here today in China. We are very far off the top 6 teams. You know, we can't really reasonably compete with Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes, Aston Martin, or Alpine. So we're just kind of fighting to make sure we stay ahead of the other 5 teams, or the other 4 teams, I should say. Alfa Romeo, Alfa Tauri, Haas, and Williams, of course. So yeah, those are the teams that I want to beat today. If we get 13th, I'll be pretty happy with that as a result. Or if more people in front retire, then whatever position that ends up being. I think that's pretty much the maximum we can extract out of this car for now. But yeah, it just means that we're going to have to wait for a chaotic race and then try our hardest to capitalize on the chaos that happens throughout that race. Quick check on the components, nothing particularly worn out apart from the gearbox, which is at 43%. That can probably do 1 or 2 more races, I would say. I'll probably try and make it go for Miami as well, and then we'll replace it for the race after, which I believe will be Imola. No Azerbaijan Grand Prix this time around off the calendar for this year, mostly because I really don't enjoy racing there. Yeah, I think after this season I might start switching to 16 race calendar. Only reason I haven't been doing it so far is because you get more resource points if you do 23 races over the course of a season from, you know, having extra race weekends and stuff like that. So yeah, it's worth doing for at least while you're developing the car. But probably after this season, we'll probably have maxed out the development of the car. So I'm hoping that we should be able to make ourselves still get enough resource points to cover off any regulation changes or anything like that post the end of this season, even if we do only have a 16 race calendar, but we'll see. As for practice, we had pretty decent pace, but I actually still think that it's going to be a struggle. You know, I don't think that pace is particularly indicative of what our race is going to be like, and my reasoning for that is sort of, I felt like I got progressively worse over the course of a stint. Like when I did the race pace simulation, it felt okay at the beginning and really got bad quite quickly. So I don't know if it was that I was overheating the tires or whether I was, you know, wearing out the tires too much or what the deal was there, but it really didn't feel very good. So yeah, I think that qualifying we might do decently well in, but as for the race, I think we're going to struggle. Honestly, it might be better if we don't do so well in qualifying, because then at least I won't be so disappointed when the race rolls around and we've got no pace. But we'll see what we can do. Maybe I'll be wrong. Who knows? Here we are at the end of our first flying lap on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and we'll see what time we do to kick things off. It's going to be a 1:31.2, and that is good enough initially for P6. We are ahead of Gasly, but we'll see where we end up towards the end of the session. Maybe we can improve on another set of tyres. We're down in 13th. Doesn't look like we're going to improve here. We're 2 tenths down, in fact, on our time from last lap. And in the end, yeah, we do manage to improve around that final corner. There's another 1:31.2, but we don't improve, and so that will be us through to Q2, but only in P13. So I think it's going to be a real struggle to get through to Q3 here. Now let's have a look at the results, and we'll see who's out, and we'll see where Hauger ended up. Did he make it through? Did he make it off the back row? He did make it off the back row. He is in P17, and he was only 5 thousandths of a second off of Logan Sargent. But he is eliminated from the session, along with Fittipaldi, Joe, Lawson, Hulkenberg, and De Vries. But, yeah, I'm not too disappointed with that from Hauger, you know. Sargent puts in a slightly worse lap than that, or vice versa. Hauger puts in a slightly better lap than that, and all of a sudden we're saying, you know, it's 2 cars through to Q2. So I'm not gonna slate him too much this time. I think he's done well there for the first time this season. Gets himself out of that P21 position, and we'll see what we can do in Q2 because we did make it through. We're on a used set of tyres to kick things off. It's a 132.4, so we're going to need some serious improvement over that one, I think. But we did get a little bit blocked by Piastri, a part of our lap. He actually overtook us. Such was the lack of pace we had as he went over 2 seconds faster than us. Yes, he was probably on a fresh set of tyres, but still, it was a bit embarrassing to have that happen on a qualifying lap. So we will see what we can do now as we make our way into the final few corners of our lap on a fresh set of tyres. We'll see what we can do, whether we can improve. I don't think so, because Gasly is going to be a 130.8 there. We crossed the line. It's a 131.4. We're no higher than 13th. We're 14th. Okay, so we're not making it through once again, but this time I was kind of expecting it a little bit more, to be honest with you. I just didn't really feel like I had it hooked up. Tsunoda has done incredibly well there with the pace of that Alfa Romeo to actually make it through to Q3. And in the process, he's knocked out both Alpines and the Ferrari of Leclerc as well. So that's 3 cars in front of me I'm definitely not going to be able to contend with. But maybe we could contend with Tsunoda. And then the other eliminations along with myself were Albon and Sargent. So I don't think those two are particularly surprising. I think maybe Leclerc, the only surprise elimination there. And Tsunoda, yeah, doing exceptionally well to make it through to Q3. We'll see if he can make his way up any higher than P10 or P9. Whether, you know, he can sort of challenge for a higher position, I'm doubtful, but I'm sure he'll be very happy with that nonetheless. Esteban Ocon takes the lead in our rivalry, and I mean, this was a rivalry I was pretty confident I was going to win. My other option was George Russell, so yeah, I'm kind of surprised that we're not winning that one at the moment, but hopefully, I think our upgrades are going to start coming onto the car in time for the next race in Miami, so hopefully we should have a bit more pace there. But I think for this race, it's just going to be about hoping that we get a bit lucky. Maybe we'll have a few safety cars, something like that, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to contend with the other cars on the grid. I don't think we have enough resource points to do any more upgrades, but I will do a quick check before we get into the race just to make sure. You know, we've got 1,500, so there is a chance, but it doesn't seem that way. You know, most of them still over 2,000, I think. So yeah, we'll see when we're able to do more upgrades. But for now, we just have to focus on the Chinese Grand Prix. Let's get into it.
The Chinese Grand Prix then is upon us once again. A race that saw Michael Schumacher claim his final Formula One victory in 2006, as well as Red Bull's first with Sebastian Vettel in 2009. There's no doubt plenty more drama to come here in Shanghai. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before we head into the braking zone of turn 14. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Perez, Magnussen, Bottas, Verstappen, Sainz, Tsunoda, Ocon, Gasly, Leclerc, Robinson, Albon, Sargent, Hauger, Fittipaldi, Zhou, Liam Lawson, Hulkenberg, and Nick de Vries rounds off the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Once again, they will be saying nothing, so I'm going to have to fill in the time. They don't even have a fun fact about China on this one. It's not like in Australia where they gave us that fun fact. So this was completely meaningless waffle. And yeah, let's see what kind of strategies we have available to us. Now, the default strategy is a soft medium. Based on the tyre wear I was showing in practice, I actually think that the medium hard is the smarter strategy for myself. I really don't think I'm going to be able to make a set of softs go, and then we'll probably end up doing soft hard anyway if I did that, so I don't know. I think that honestly the mediums is the better choice for me, even if it means we're lacking in pace compared to a lot of the cars around us. I think it's just a smarter play overall. We'll see. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. Who knows?
Right, let's get the car
but
up to temperature on this
yeah,
lap,
we just need to try and be conservative here. I think realistically, my chances of scoring points are basically 0 in this race. You know, I would love to be proven wrong, but I just can't see a world in which I end up being faster than at least 3 of the cars in front of me. I think while the Alpines are as strong as they are, there's not really going to be a chance for me to contend with them. We just need to up the rate of development massively, which we haven't done just yet, but we'll see what we can do as the lights come on. And the lights go out as we switch to the replay camera. And I think once again, we've gotten away quite well there. You can just about see me in the background as, yeah, we move on. And I'm going to go aggressively to the inside at turn 1. We almost go into the side of one of the Alpines there. I'm not sure which one that is. One of them got away well. The other one did not. Tsunoda had an absolutely shocking start. And he is all the way down into P12 or 13, I believe this is. I think we're in P13. I think we made up 1 position off the start so far. But we are putting some pressure on Yuki Tsunoda here as we come on the run down the hill, and we're going to dive to the inside of him, and it's actually going to be 3 wide with one of the Alpines as well, but we do manage to make the move stick on Tsunoda, and I think that is up into P12 now, if I'm not mistaken, as yeah, we try and set our sights on that Alpine in front of us. This might be P11 actually, thinking about it, because I think the 2 Alpines both started in front of me in 11th and 12th. So yeah, I think we're in P11, but I don't think we will be for long, because here comes... Which one is it? I actually am not sure. I didn't quite see the number on the front of his car. I think it might be Gasly, but I could be wrong. So yeah, either way, he's a long way ahead of me by the time we get out of the Max Chilton section, and now I'm going to be coming under pressure from Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari as well, as yeah, things are pretty much as they were. Albon and Tsunoda having a bit of a battle there. Albon, of course, replacing Tsunoda in AlphaTauri as Tsunoda jumped ship to Alfa Romeo. That was a little while ago now, of course. That was last season, I believe. But yeah, we managed to stay ahead of Leclerc for now, and we are still in P12 come the end of the lap. So yeah, move on to lap 3 now, and DRS has been enabled, and here comes Charles Leclerc. He's going to be making his move up the inside, and yeah, it's pretty trivial for him. You know, he's in a Ferrari. I'm not going to fight him too much, but I just can't shake the feeling that something is really wrong with what we've got here at the moment. I don't know if it's the engine or whether it's the build, maybe it's the setups I'm running, something like that, but something just feels fundamentally wrong with the car these past few races. Pretty much ever since Saudi Arabia, I would say. It's been a really difficult string of races for me. I've had basically no confidence in the car whatsoever. I feel like I can't push because every time I exit the corner, I feel like, you see there, like I just get a bit of a snap. And it prevents me from really sort of committing to putting the power down as we get very aggressive there with Alex Albon. We actually exceed track limits there, so yeah, a little bit of on the limit driving there, as actually Fittipaldi and Tsunoda get ahead of Albon as well. His compromised exit from the final corner, not something that he would have enjoyed particularly, but yeah, something feels really up. Not quite sure what it is yet, but we will. We'll investigate further. So yeah, looking more at Alex Albon, he just lost 3 positions over the course of a few corners, but well, I mean, his race is about to go from bad to even worse, because he is going to be retiring from the race, and he becomes the first driver to do so here in the Chinese Grand Prix. And yeah, that is the end of the race for him. So disappointing, but I mean, I don't think he would have scored any points anyway. So it would have just been data collection. Moving on to lap 5 now, and you can see we're coming under pressure from Enzo Fittipaldi, my former teammate in the Williams there, and well, he ends up making it look pretty easy. I think we're going to try and dive back around the outside of him there, and in doing so, not only do we fail to make the move on him, but we also open the door for Yuki Tsunoda to make his way through, and we have fallen down into P15. It's kind of crazy to think that this is where we're racing. After 3 victories last season, including 2 in the last 3 races, we just have nothing to fight with. This is the same car. This is literally the same car that we got those victories with. We haven't really done any upgrades, and maybe that's the problem. You know, we're experiencing kind of similar to what Aston Martin are experiencing in real life at the moment, where they've gone from being someone who you back to probably get a victory at some point, and now it's looking like it's not even going to be Q3 appearances, even points for them on the majority of occasions. Lawson putting us under pressure now, and he's going up to the inside, and I don't know if he's going to quite make the move stick. Once again, I just feel like I'm drifting around that hairpin. It's a horrible, horrible experience. And I'm getting that out of so many corners here, you know, out of this corner as well. Just feels like I have no confidence in putting the power down or whatever. I don't know. It just is not a pleasant experience to drive the car whatsoever. I don't know. I'm wondering whether I know some people had their wheel settings reset when the update happened. But what I'm wondering is whether it also happened for controller players, because I had custom controller settings, of course, and I'm wondering whether that was something that happened or not, because I really don't feel very comfortable with this. As you can see, Hauger now this is battling with Lawson behind as well. They're going wheel to wheel as Hauger tries to make his way through, but that's smoke coming out the back of his car, and that is the first retirement for either of us this season, myself or Hauger. This is a shame, because this was the first race in which he was actually looking pretty strong, and his drive will go unrewarded, unfortunately, as he retires here on lap 8 of the Grand Prix. And now here comes Liam Lawson making his way through up into P15, and it's just going from bad to worse for us. At this rate, we're barely even going to finish above anyone, never mind the drivers we should be finishing ahead of. You know, we got Tsunoda and Fittipaldi, who are now 4 seconds up the road. I don't know how this has happened. I don't know how we're showing this little pace at this stage of the Grand Prix, but we are. We do manage to make our way back ahead of Liam Lawson, just about, but it's a pretty aggressive defense into lap 9. I think we made a bit of contact there. I just had to check my floor to make sure it wasn't damaged. You know, I'm really just struggling for grip so much. I know the tyres are pretty worn out at this point, but we're not even overheating them or anything, so I really don't know why this is happening. It just is. We just need to deal with it, apparently, as Lawson makes his way through again with the DRS, but we'll see if we can fight him back with the DRS into lap 11. I'm sure that as long as we stay with him, we'll be able to make the move fairly easily and concisely as we round the final corner, but we've gone out wide, and that has compromised our run quite significantly, and now I think that the position will be Lawson's for the taking. And in fact, we actually need to be aware of Joe behind. He got very, very close there, not quite close enough to make a move, although he did think about going for a move that I've been a big fan of in previous years' games. I do like going up the inside at turn 2 because it catches the AI completely off guard, and they never see it coming. But yeah, we don't manage to get back ahead of Lawson on that occasion. However, we once again have DRS into the back straight of the Chinese Grand Prix, and on lap 11 I think we are just about going to make the move on him. Not quite. We're wheel to wheel going through the hairpin, and if I can get a good exit here, which I actually do for a change, we will be able to get back ahead of him and up into P15. We were racing for wins last season. I feel like Lewis Hamilton felt at the start of the 2022 season. You know, he went from being a championship contender, which I thought we might be after the first race this season, and we're not even really a points contender at the moment. We need to develop the car, and we need to do it soon. You know, we need to start getting consistent upgrades onto the car, otherwise we are just going to move backwards and backwards and backwards, and it is going to be an absolutely pitiful experience for us. So, yeah, lap 13, and we are going to be coming into the pits, putting on a set of hard compound tyres to the end of the race. Hopefully it works, because goodness me, we just need more grip, more pace. We need anything we can get at this point. I don't know why this is happening or how this is happening. You know, the car feels worse than it has when we've had less upgrades on it. So I don't know if it's setup or something, but really I don't know. I just don't feel right in this car at the moment. I don't know what we're lacking in. Whether my setups just don't work on a more upgraded car, I guess that might be it. But I don't really know how to fix them. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But Lawson and Joe pitted 1 lap earlier than I did. That allowed them to jump me in the pit stop phase. Sargent pitting now, but we are legitimately in P17. And that is an incredibly big blow to my confidence, to think that we're not even sort of outside the sort of back marker territory at this point. I think Hauger, if he had still been in this race, would be ahead of us as well, to be honest with you. So we need to find some pace, and quickly. if we want to beat these guys. I don't really know how to say it any more plainly than that. We need to figure something quickly. Fortunately, we do manage to sort of stay with Joe and Lawson, so that's something that we can at least be happy about. We don't get absolutely dropped by them, and in fact, it seems like we might be catching them a little bit. I'm not quite within DRS range, but we're not too far away, so maybe I can reel into their DRS range pretty soon. As you see, I'm 1.1 seconds down on Zhou Guanyu now, so hopefully I can close him up soon, and maybe we could even think about going for the overtake and make our way back into P16, maybe even P15. And to be honest with you, Tsunoda and Fittipaldi aren't too far up the road either, so there probably is a chance. There's only 8 laps left to go, of course, but there probably is a chance that I might be able to get back ahead of them. Who knows? We get the DRS at the end of lap 20 on Zhou Guanyu. He does have DRS to Lawson, but he's quite far behind him, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about him going for that move. And, well, are we going to do it? I think we are. And up the inside. Whoa, hey! We finally made an overtake in the Chinese Grand Prix. And it only took us 21 laps. Very impressive stuff. What a difficult race this has been. But, yeah, in my favourite spot on the track, we end up overtaking Zhou Guanyu and getting back into P16. Now on to lap 22, towards the start of lap 23, and maybe we're going to try and do the same thing to Lawson now. We're not going to be close enough to overtake him here, and in fact we're a little bit further back than we were on Zhou Guanyu, but we just about find the space once again, and that is us making 2 overtakes in the space of 3 laps. Oh boy, what a strong Grand Prix this has been for me. Fittipaldi is 5.5 seconds up the road, so I'm going to have to catch him by about a second a lap if I want any hope of getting past him before the end of the Grand Prix. Same goes for Tsunoda as well. I don't think that we're going to quite have the pace to be able to do that, and as we make our way onto lap 27, you can see I've only closed the gap by about a second or so, so even if we do close them up, it's not going to be by enough. And I think we're just going to be consolidating this P15 here, so in the end we didn't even get that P13 that I thought it was almost nailed on for. I guess it was just setup or something, it had to be. Or the car really is dog shit and I don't realise, but I can't see how it's gone from being, you know, podium contention in Bahrain to this bad all of a sudden in the span of literally a matter of, you know, a couple of races. You know, I know that Saudi Arabia and Australia weren't terrible, we were just narrowly out of the points. But this race, we were nowhere near scoring points. There didn't look like an opportunity where we were ever going to be in contention for scoring points here. So, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed about that. Looks like Lawson was thinking about maybe going for a move there, but he decides against doing it in the end. And, well, that is going to be basically the end of that. As long as we don't bottle it out of the final corner, I think we're good. And, yeah, we round the final corner. Take P15 at the checkered flag, and goodness me, not the race I wanted whatsoever. You know, Miami is a strong track for me at the best of times. We do have some upgrades coming on for that. So I can only hope that things go a lot better when we make it to Miami.
There'll be smiles at the factory after that one. A great race and a real team performance to take victory here at Shanghai. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalize on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Now, I know we're only 4 races deep into the season, but this has got to be one of the most dominant starts to a Formula 1 season that anyone has ever had. George Russell has won all 4 races, and I think he even got the fastest lap in this race to put him on a total of over 100 points after just 4 races. That is almost unheard of from the 2-time world champion. He's joined on the podium by Perez and Piastri. of course. But yeah, incredibly strong start to the season for Russell this time as he looks for his third World Championship.
So let's have a quick look at how the drivers' standings have changed. That's a positive result for George Russell, who further solidifies his position at the top of the standings. Let's focus on driver of the day, Anthony Davidson. Who do you pick?
But there's no question in my mind, it has to go to George Russell. What a performance. He's got every right to be proud of what he accomplished out there today.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, perhaps unsurprisingly, we have fallen down the Constructors' Championship order as Alpine pick up a few more points once again here and leapfrog us for P6 in the Constructors. We're down to P7. I'm also down to P10 in the Drivers, which to think I was third at one point is kind of disappointing. But yeah, like I say, hopefully we can bounce back pretty soon. Hopefully Hauger can start getting some strong performances once we get the upgrades on the car as well. You know, he's been looking better and better with each passing weekend. So I'm optimistic for his sake that he can start to really improve once the car has a bit more pace in it. Obviously, the teams around us are going to be upgrading as well. But, you know, I'm not going to complain too much about what's going on here. You know, obviously, I know we made our way towards the front of the field towards the end of last season. But this is what Formula One is actually like. This is why I do this, as opposed to playing on you know, sort of the normal sliders. I push the acclaim and the money and all that kind of thing all the way down for myself and all the way up for the AI, because I found that that's about the only way that it mimics what real Formula One is actually like, where you don't really tend to catch the cars in front of you. It takes a number of years. You know, most teams have 5-year plans to get towards the front of the field. It doesn't happen over the course of a season. It happens over the course of, you know, the 4, 5, maybe more seasons. When you think about how McLaren are sort of challenging for not victories necessarily, but certainly podiums with Mercedes and Ferrari and those guys, that didn't happen overnight. You know, they've had Lando Norris at that team now for what, 4 years. This is his 5th season with them, isn't it? So yeah, this is his 5th season with the team now, and in that time they've really only gotten better. I know obviously they've had a few missteps at the start of some seasons here and there, but generally speaking, you know, they've managed to recover themselves quite nicely, and yeah, that's I think that's kind of what we're going to experience over the course of this season. I think we're going to have a bit of a McLaren effect, where at the start of the season we're not going to look particularly competitive, and then as the season progresses, hopefully we can start challenging for podiums, maybe a few wins. You know, my goal here is to not have a winless season. I think I want to get at least 1 win. If I had 3 last year, I should be able to really pick up at least 1 this season. But you know, who knows? Anything can happen. That's the beauty of this sport. Maybe we just don't develop faster than the cars around us. You know, we're obviously at a disadvantage to everyone else, but eventually we will get to a point where we will be able to contend with the cars around us. It's just going to take a little bit of time. F1 22, obviously, I wasn't a championship contender till Season 4, and it looks like it's going to be the same deal this time around as well. So hopefully you can be patient as we make our way towards the front of the field. But that is going to be it for this video. Next up is Miami, so hopefully you tune in for that one. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.